Oh, you got the controller today. I like it.
Let's see if I can fuck this up.
Oh my god, that's the series finale.
Oh. And if I hit next and then
pause. Yeah, and then pause. There you go. There you go. It's that easy. Not that it matters because, you know, they just spoil things anyway in the title, so we're just all this work.
Oh, is this part? Are we officially on the intro now? So
yeah, I did it Theo Von style, just right in without saying anything. I know it's your favorite guy.
I don't like him.
I know.
I just don't.
Let's see what episode 22 has to offer. Episode 22s in the past, like Space Seed, for example, have been pretty good, so we'll see if this one holds up to that.
Do you remember episodes 22 and seasons 1 through 3 of TNG?
Oh, of TNG?
Let's see how good your memory is there.
Alright, let's see. Season 1... Well, Season 2 was Shades of Grey, because they only had 22 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Season 1... what I do is I try to think of, like, a good episode I remember, and then work from that. So, like, for example, I know in Season 1, episode 23 was Skin of Evil. So, what was 22? Let me jump to Season 3. We had The Good Streak, ruined by Captain's Holiday. Then Tin Man was episode 20. And give me 21. And I can try to fill in the blanks. Oh, 22 is Those Toys. I got it. Woo! Okay, and then Season 1 was it Symbiosis?
I think it was, yeah.
Ooh, I got there.
So if it says 21 Symbiosis,
it's actually 22.
It's actually 22.
Yeah, because they count Encounter Far Point is just 1, right? Instead of 1 and 2.
Yeah, they count it as 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Counselor Deanna Troy, personal log, stardate 44805.3. My mother is on board.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for the surprise.
Was there something that... Oh! Was there like an order that came from high up that's like, no more surprises?
Well, it seems that Mrs. Troy is our acting ambassador of goodwill for today.
You just think of me as your entertainment director.
She's into those big boys.
That man's in a lot of trouble.
Should give him that dad bod. She could probably read his mind then, right?
I would guess so, yeah, unless it's one of those weird things, like, they can't read Ferengi. Can I just say that she's, like, not aged, like, at all since TOS days?
Yeah.
She looks, like, exactly the same.
Yeah, no, she's aged well, but if you went and looked back
at that picture, yeah. I mean...
It's like going back to the first episode of a show and being like, everyone looks weird.
Yeah. She looks great, that's what I'm saying.
Captain's log, stardate 44805.7.
Half a life.
Thank you for this opportunity. My only wish has been to find a way to revive our son before I die.
I wonder what the aliens look like when they, have a full head of hair. Like, are they all balding so you can see the thing?
Where have you been? I've been waiting for you.
Nice to see you again so soon.
Mrs. Troy.
I don't feel bad for you, Troy, because you just hate her, basically, so...
I have to ask you to clear the bridge, please.
I don't see why. There are lots of other people here.
Mother, please.
Oh, man. Missed opportunity to do a cut to a wide shot of just the empty bridge with just them on it. They don't really do that kind of visual comedy.
Yeah, not
gags.
that often, though.
It would have been very out of place, but I think
never
it could have been a
old
rare...
enough to be your mother. She is so vibrant.
Oh, he's into it.
But Troy's into him.
Hey, it's like that Ferengi episode.
The tertiary reaction to the...
Enough is enough. Rescue is at hand.
Woo! Mr. Hum! The true best character.
The intellectual efficiency of high-order beings does diminish proportionately with the deprivation of nutritious fuel.
All right, don't you start.
Jeez. Testy.
Yeah.
These two. Call me Mrs. Troy. You call me Luoxana.
Yeah. Now, we haven't seen Mr. Hom talk yet, have we?
Maybe one word, but I don't think so.
Well, that's what I was trying to remember. Did he say, like, one word or not yet?
I also have a grown daughter. She has a small son of her own.
Then you're married.
My wife died quite some years ago.
I did, however, remarry recently. Oh.
But then got divorced.
What are you?
Why not simply evacuate the planet?
It is our home. It defines who we are as a people. If Kalon 2 ceases to exist, so do we.
What if they evacuate onto the same planet from Rathacon?
Oh, God.
Buried alive.
Just say yes. I'll make you laugh some more.
I wish I could, but I must say no.
If I laugh too much, I will die. Have you ever seen that movie with Eddie Murphy where he only has a limited amount of words? No, no one did.
I was about to say, what movie are you talking about? I don't know.
But that's my condition with laughter. Well, why would you bring up that example if you knew nobody saw it?
Final pre-launch diagnostic, level 5.
All systems verified.
We're ready here when you are, Captain.
Now, you know how a lot of times we're like, oh no, don't introduce an external plot, like, let's just keep this.
You want that now, don't you?
Yeah, it's like, unfortunately, one of those times where it's like, oh, I'm sorry, this potential relationship with Loxana and this guy is not enough. Please give me some aliens. Please give me a ship battle.
Yeah, it's a bad sign if we're asking for that. I mean, I like the guy so far. He's not bad.
Yeah, he's fine, but it's just like, okay.
Torpedoes now entering the stellar core.
Their shields are holding. Guidance systems normal.
Ignition sequence, 6 seconds.
Just want to know why Geordi was so uptight earlier.
He's been in a bit of a mood this last few episodes, I feel like.
Temperature is rising in the core again, Captain.
Back up. Back up.
Throw it in reverse, Data!
Get the hell out of here.
Ensign, walk to now.
Riker with this famous line there.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm sorry.
Now, if an entire sun were to extinguish like that or blow up, what happened to the planet?
Now, when I said his famous line, I didn't mean Riker said it. Obviously, Kirk said it.
Yeah.
Kirk's famous line. They brought him on for this job and he failed? Okay. Well, you can leave now.
We'll drop you off somewhere. Sorry, your planet's not probably doing too well right now.
You've been stripped of all rank or whatever you are. What's your job?
I think he's just a scientist from the planet.
Well, it's just been revoked.
I sparkled a bit myself in those days. You see, that's called fishing for a compliment. You're supposed to tell me I still sparkle.
Didn't give him a lot of time.
What difference do a few years make?
Unfortunately, a great deal. You see, Loxana, I'm on my way home now.
He is dying, isn't he?
To die.
And I understand that. That's a very common, storyline in media. Like, oh, it's too late, I'm dying, we can't be together. But easy for me to say, I guess. But it's like, we're all dying, technically. It's like, you can't just enjoy it. But I understand I can't put you through it, if you know you're dying soon. So, I don't know.
When a person on this benighted little planet reaches the age of 60, which Timothy is about to do, they're expected to simply kill themselves. Did you know that?
It's just because of his age.
The people of Kalon, too, are isolationists, almost to the point of being xenophobes.
It's the second time Data's called someone xenophobes this season.
You've got to go down there, talk to those people, Jean-Luc.
Prime directive forbids us to interfere with the social order of any planet.
Well, it's your prime directive, not mine.
Nice. I thought that was only for pre-warp societies. Is this place pre-warp? It doesn't seem like it. Or now is it just, no, now they just can't interfere at all.
What do you mean I can't go down there? Are you telling me that... His orders don't apply to me?
No, they apply to him.
I'll go check the pattern buffers.
Nice. Gotta
lock the computer.
Think about all the time, villains have come into the transporter room just empty and they've just hit buttons and transported themselves.
Probably all in episodes Chief's not in.
I don't cry.
You cried when Father died.
But this isn't the same.
Considering you met him a few hours ago.
His society has decided that he's too old. So they just dispose of him.
You will never be one of those who dies before they die.
And those whose families could no longer care for them were put away into death watch facilities where they waited in loneliness for the end to come. So
Nursing homes.
we are no longer that cruel, Loxana.
No, you're not cruel to them. You just kill them. Eventually, it's their turn to take care of us.
No parent should expect to be paid back for the love they've given their children.
Osgoid's a Beta Z delicacy.
Looks very interesting.
Should have tried it while you were still alive. No reason to bother now.
You're as vital and healthy a man as I've ever known.
That is why I wish to say goodbye to my family and colleagues while I am this way. In full command of my faculties, knowing that they will always remember me as a strong and vigorous man.
But it makes no sense.
75 is my cutoff.
I agree with her here. I mean, it just depends on the person.
This is a custom that I have known and accepted.
The women of Beta Z used to wear these enormous wigs with large holes in the center for tiny caged creatures.
What?
So then one day, one very formidable woman finally said so, refused to ever wear another of those wigs.
Very interesting example, but point noted.
Well, if that's the way it is, I don't know why anyone's bothering to try to save your planet at all. If its time has come, let it die.
That's a bit much.
Thought I was about to say, that's a great idea. We'll let it die.
Yeah. Wait a minute. You're onto something.
Action boundary uncoupling.
Oh, looks like they even got the makeup under his beard. Credit to them if they did that.
I have come to officially request asylum aboard the Enterprise.
Oh, now that he feels like he has something to live for, even though earlier he was like, oh, the work will continue, but now he feels like he's got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Others started your work, others will finish it. It has always been this way. It always will.
It's always been this way. It always will. Company policy.
I suggest you return Timothy and depart. If you attempt to leave orbit with Timothy on board, our ships have been ordered to open fire.
Not an open-minded people.
Nope.
What do you think, Captain? Have I done the right thing?
I'm afraid you're the only one who can answer that.
I gave a very motivating speech last episode. I got to recharge.
I'm out.
I wish I had her strength. She is a woman of extraordinary conviction, isn't she?
Isn't she? Any communications, number one?
No, sir, we have an open chat.
Oh, hey, Beverly.
I wanted to make sure I got paid this week.
Doctor, I suggest that you return to your quarters.
I don't want there to be any bloodshed because of my decision.
They will do everything they can to avoid it. I think we should get out of their way now.
Brought her on the bridge just to get him off.
Yep.
I am a greater threat to my world than a dying sun.
That was kind of a weird reveal. Which she just was already in there, or just walked in?
I don't know.
Bridge to Dr. Timothy. You have a visitor coming aboard.
Retardant?
No, sir, it's your daughter.
I thought it was going to be his ex-wife. She died.
Timothy, your second wife is on board. Oh, shit.
They have to make it really clear. The one you married after your first wife's passing.
I've been looking forward to meeting you, Dara.
What a hairstyle.
Go on with your life knowing that each day is an insult to everything we believe in. I love you, but I am ashamed.
Damn, imagine your kid being like, I'm ashamed of your ass. Oh.
This guy's going through and doesn't deserve it.
I would like to be alone now, please.
Oh, no.
Yep. Whew. It's like, doesn't fully blame her, but it's like, yeah, give me some space.
Yeah, this guy's just in an impossible situation.
I never considered how deeply ingrained this resolution liturgy is.
It's his choice, though.
Ritual provides structure in society. Good rituals and bad rituals alike.
Great shot here, Les. I don't know how they hid the camera. It must have just been a good angle.
Yeah, like perfectly lined up angle to where they couldn't see it.
See, oh, even moving, too. Unless that mirror is actually a cutout and they're inside. No, they didn't do that.
A trick mirror.
Do you believe that I love you? I do, you know. If that is my only reason to stay alive.
It's not enough.
Almost.
Also your work, though. That's what made you initially decide. Unless that was just cope, and like he realized that he's like, oh wait, they're right. They are gonna finish the work. I thought that was gonna be it. Do you think we'll get to see his execution? It's like a Training Day style scene.
Roxana.
It is the custom for your loved ones to join you with this resolution, is it not? We are ready, Mr. O'Brien.
Oh, and on the scene! You're close?
It's close. That was close. That was close.
Alright, you go first this time. B! Whoa! Alright, I expected something a little bit different, but this was a tough one for me, and it's going to be an interesting discussion. Definitely 10 minutes into this episode, didn't think I'd end up here, but I actually went with a A!
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. You guys have got to be kidding. No, but how about that guest actor, though?
Oh, he was fan-fucking-tastic.
Bro went hard.
Bro came in prepared and delivered.
Actually read the script. He went up to Les and said, "What's his motivation? What is this character's life like?" I don't fucking know.
He wants to save his planet. But what's his motivation?
A dying planet hangs on the brink of destruction.
Even if I find the solution, you will not accept it?
And the only man who can save it is sentenced to die.
The man is supposed to kill himself. Now, you don't just let that happen.
Now, Picard must risk war to keep him alive.
Our ships have been ordered to open fire.
They expect Tennyson to die!
Death sentence on the next exciting episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I haven't got really emotional at all this season, really. And it's been something I've done quite a few times in the past. A lot of times with a little bit of liquid help. But I came close this time. In the most unexpected circumstances of a day player and Laxwana Troy. So...
You didn't think she'd be the character to get you?
I did not. To be honest, with this episode continuing the theme of just messing up the intro, of just, my mother's on board. Oh, it's me! You know, it's like, oh, thanks. A nice surprise could have been, you know, like, I don't know what changed. Like, I don't know if... Mara, Zara, what's her name?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Previous couple episodes, Captain's Holiday.
Oh, the writer?
No, the woman.
Vash?
Yeah, Vash, yeah. I don't know if Vash like got in some writer's ear, like, hey, surprises aren't fun. You know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, sure, yeah, okay. Like, I don't know, but I gave this one a B+ purely for the emotional side of it, the whole culture side of it. The guest actor's performance making me care about this guy, you know, surrounding an episode basically around one person and succeeding with no real, oh no, something else is happening. But, yeah, it's I'll bounce off what you say, but that's where I'm at right now.
I don't have a ton to say about this episode. However, this was an episode that was just going to sink or swim based on what else? Execution. Don't make me point to the sign. And, you know, because the premise and the idea is so interesting. And as a matter of fact, I was so interested in it that, you know, one of my least favorite explanations for why someone likes an episode is, well, the idea is really interesting. It's like, 9 times out of 10, that is irrelevant to me. What is the execution of it? Here, even if the execution had been really bad, I would have still given credit to the idea of like, okay, but there's a really cool idea here. But it wasn't. I thought the execution was really good. And definitely, first of all, Majel Barrett as Loxana Troy was great. Majel Barrett always gives good performances for whatever she's needed, but she goes from being the biggest comic relief character so far in the series to now they need her to do a more serious, dramatic episode, and boom, just like that, she's great. But what I really want to say, I still think even wins out, character of the episode, David Ogden Stiers as Dr. Timison, I believe it was pronounced. Yeah. Wow, he's up there. He's up there.
Timison might be my new favorite, hopefully recurring guest character. One of the most stellar performances, believable performances, not too over the top, but you can see everything he's thinking, everything he's feeling in his face, and he doesn't ham it up, but it's there. It's there bubbling underneath the surface. And you're right about Laxwana Troy. I feel like this was the best plausible option for her character. We can't have her lust over someone else again. It's a goofy hijinks, whatever. What a great tone shift and successful tone shift of what if we actually put her through the ringer here? And like she meets someone. Oh, great. Okay, she meets someone. But it keeps going with it. And the guy's genuine. And he's, you know, playing along with it as well. But he's not super into it at first. I'm like, oh, this is weird. And he's like, oh, I've only met you some years earlier. And you're like, oh, why? Because you're married? Because this? And then they drop this bomb. Like, oh, no, the species also, they kill themselves when they're 60. It's like, I thought the whole problem of this episode was going to be, oh, we got to save this world before their sun explodes. But no, it's before, because it kind of like another whole shift where it's like, no, it's about, we're going to try to reframe this whole species, basically start like, not an uprising, but a change, basically. And I love how like, I love how like sad I was at the end. It made me sad. I'm like, it's like, oh, I'm not the one that's going to start the revolution. It's like, oh, it's like, come on, man. It's like,
Yeah, bro. I don't think it's gonna be a recurring character, unfortunately, unless he escapes or changes his mind.
we didn't see a dead body.
Yeah, true.
We didn't see a dead
yeah,
body.
I always say, right? Yeah.
And she goes down with them for their final moments together, and all that was like worth it. Yeah, I kind of love that whole idea of like star-crossed lovers, but in reality, life just doesn't work out that way. But they're making the best of this horrible situation. Reminds me of a random Chris Evans movie I saw that he directed called Before We Go, where he meets a woman in New York. They're both stranded and they, catch feelings for each other, just hop in hotels and bars and, learning about each other. Very small, isolated movie. Kind of reminded me of that.
Can I jump?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I wanted to also say, great casting on whoever did the casting this episode. Everyone was great, even down to the daughter, Dara, who's played by Michelle Forbes. I think one scene, and she just like knocks it out of the park with her and her dad, arguing on how she says she's ashamed of him because of this. And the reason I loved the idea here is because it's not just one thing. Like it is one thing, the resolution, I think they call it. When they die, but it's wrapped up in there. Romantic love, familial love, culture and traditions and society. The idea of if a society all agrees on something, does that make it okay morally? Like,
yeah,
all of this is wrapped up in here, and that can be a lot for an episode to try to hold. And a lot of times you can come away with an episode like that going, oh man, they just didn't have the time. I wish they could have dug in deeper. So I was really impressed how much this episode was able to dig into all of those themes pretty well. Would I have loved to see more? Sure. But like for a 45-minute episode that didn't even introduce this element until, around 10, 15 minutes in, I was very impressed with that, how we got to explore all those different levels. Let's start with just the idea of the resolution and people reaching 60 years old and, killing themselves in this ritual. Him and Loaxana Troy have an argument about this and the morality of it, and we can put aside the logic for a moment. But let's say that this is real. Let's say it exists, right? What do you think about it, like morally? Because it's not something new. Like there have been other things in media, books, movies that talk about stuff like this, of essentially a very youthful, euthanasia, like not waiting until someone's way too old to be able to help themselves, and it's obviously on its face like, oh, killing's wrong, murdering's wrong, but like, what do you think about it just like as a concept for the society?
Yeah, I'll look at it from all perspectives here. Like from my perspective, me who's planning to, at 75, if it's starting to happen, yeah, but 60 is pretty early. But that whole idea is, of course, crazy to me. It's like 60 is so early, especially in the world that we live in, where Shatner's walking around at 93, sharp as a tack. So looking at it from that perspective is like, oh my God. But I also try to think of the perspective that these people, their entire, like pretty much their entire species, for as long as they've been a species, this was formed pretty early on in their heritage. So yeah, it's been ingrained in their whole thing, their entire lives. I'm trying to think of other things that have been ingrained in ours. I don't know. Maybe some people out there will find the idea of funerals that crazy that we do. It's like, oh, we bury him in the ground? Why would he do that? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the equivalent is of something crazy that we do that another species, culture, race might go, what the hell are you doing? That's wrong. But also, there's really no young teens on this planet that grew up like, why do we have to kill ourselves? And sure, the adults educate him on this. Hey, we do it because of this and that and that. But there's got to be some that are like, no, this is still wrong. You know what I mean? Because how many times have we rebelled against our parents for dumb, small shit? I mean, imagine something as big as ending your life at 60 years old. Someone's got to fight back. And it's just not him. It'll be someone else down the line, maybe. But yeah, the whole interesting thought. And I love how Picard is just like, no, that's what, if it was Kirk, I feel like he would have gone down there and tried to change their entire government. You know what I mean? Similar to the video game one.
Yeah, Taste of Armageddon.
Taste of Armageddon, yeah. But Picard's like, despite my personal feelings, and he's not part of the resolution at all. Like I think after that he's barely in the episode. He's like, that. What can I do?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because if you keep in mind that this has been in the society for generations and everyone is agreeing and consenting to do it, there's not, it's not like, oh, well, the rich elites or the political class are exempt, or, there's no, like, at least from what we're told in this episode, there's no, like, level of manipulation or corruption. It's just what this society does. And that's why I said put the logic aside, because when you try to envision it in our worldview, this would never happen because there's too much corruption, there's too much, but taking it at its face value, I do think it's very interesting that there's really nothing wrong with it. Like, in terms of if that's how their society works, and I think that's why Picard even said, like, I can't get involved. That's what their society, I can't go down there and be like, who am I, to say that they need to change what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously Loxana, was thinking of it as, oh, she just is infatuated with this guy and everything and doesn't want him to die, understandably. But I almost found myself having trouble disagreeing with the daughter, Dara, when she comes on and says all this to the father and says she's ashamed of him. I'm not saying necessarily that she shouldn't have more empathy or try to understand, but I just felt like, yeah, of course their species is going to react like this. And this guy was on the Enterprise. What if someone on the planet had this reaction? That's what I was thinking. Like, there has to be someone along the way that is like, oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
and what would they do then? Because to him, they just kind of like shunned him or whatever and cut off all of his work and communication. And they were going to try to blow up the Enterprise. So I guess that answers the question. But it's just, I mean, yeah, if someone were to say in that society, no, I don't want to do it. Oh, well, then we're just going to kill you right now. Then that's not good. Like, then that's crossing the line, in my opinion. But if everyone's agreeing to it and everyone's okay with it, I just find it very odd for this guy to be the first one ever in their society to ever do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was saying the same thing. I don't know how long they've been around, how many years, millennia, whatever, but for this guy to be the only one to do it, or it also makes me think, did someone else try to, and the government was like,
yeah, and that's why, again, I kind of have to be like, well, we just have to take it for what it is, because we can assume all these things, and it changes the narrative.
Because they acted as if it was some grand treason. It's like, what do you mean you're not going to kill yourself? It's like,
yeah.
It's like, well, I can continue my work, the time it would take for new people to learn it and all that. I mean, I'm going to die in 4 days here. It's like, just let me finish so we can, save the, see that sun that's keeping us alive?
But then he even changes his mind by the end. It is like, oh, no, like it actually doesn't matter. They'll do the work. And he ends up agreeing, as far as we see, and goes to do it. So it's almost like even he was like, oh, I was being selfish. He says that to Loxana. He's like, I can't be that selfish. So they really didn't put this resolution tradition in like an evil light or anything like that, which I really respected. And by the way, this episode, the first 10-15 minutes, this was going to be a D episode. Like I did not care at all. I'm like, oh, another Loxana Troy episode where I don't care. Not that it was like as bad right off the rip as other ones, but then it just like scratched and clawed its way all the way up to an A. That's insane.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was an uphill battle for sure. Because I was getting that feeling in the beginning too, where it's, oh no. But then this little guy comes aboard. This little bald guy with his little tattoos. I'm like, And then he's on the Enterprise, and Picard's doing his greeting. Doesn't interrupt Picard. I'm like, It's like, you know what? I'm gonna give this guy I'm gonna give this a chance, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I did too, and I mostly enjoyed the dialogue scenes in the second half with Loxana and Timothy once we had the kind of the plot figured out. Once we got there, I still do have a pet peeve, and this is just a personal thing, but like this goes all the way back to the Wesley episode where he falls in love with that monster girl, and now even like the next episode too. No spoilers, but like I just have to accept that in this show, people just fall in love in like 30 seconds. So I guess I just have to accept in this futuristic world, people fall in love really fast because the dude and Loxana met, and then like in that same day saying that they love each other. It's kind of like, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna like,
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with, I just love the whole tragic story of it. Like, I love the idea that they do love each other, but these horrible circumstances. And to be honest, that ending is going to stick with me for a little bit. There's some movie endings or things that happen in movies where just that sadness holds on to me, like Bridge to Terabithia. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Like, that's still a piece of me, still like upset about that. And this is one of those ones we're seeing those two on the transporter and Luxwana going down with them, and him like tearing up that's gonna sit with me for a little bit, and I don't like it. But I love the episode, but I don't like it's all bullshit, right? It's all fake. But like
Yeah.
in my head canon, in some alternate universe, that's happened, and it's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
And like Laxwana finally found someone because they've been building up her, like, oh, I'm just trying to, I just want to meet someone, I just want to fall in love, and from Picard to the holodeck to not really a Ferengi, sort of a fake relationship, and then this guy, it's like finally, it's like, oh, they pulled the rug out a different way.
And this was definitely the best episode for her. Best scene with her and Troy in the transporter room. Best scenes just for her, period. Probably that same one, but also the others that she had as well. And yeah, really respected it. So this one, it beat the 5-minute feeling, which is something that's tough for us. It overcame a lot of that stuff. It overcame, and it ended up as a really good episode. Now, for me, only reasons it's not an S is because it's ironic, because unlike you, I really didn't feel that emotional side of it necessarily. Like I was more so like, I understand the emotions, I can buy into what the characters are feeling, but I personally didn't really feel it. Maybe that's my age or my lack of life experience with certain things on the topic, but that side of it didn't really grab me, and nothing about it, like, because of that, made it one of my favorites. I just found myself pretty much not caring about the episode until it got me so invested in its ideas and then executing those ideas so well through very dialogue-heavy scenes. So I respected all that. But it's ironic because you actually rated this lower than me. So what was it about the episode that kind of fell short in your eyes?
Trying to remember.
Just the being boring at first and getting into it?
Yeah, maybe just that beginning, yeah. And then as it went on, it started going up and up. And I'm like, well, do I discredit the beginning? Because I like the ending so much.
That's why it's hard.
It's tough for me to like rate it all right away, because after I think about it and talk about it some more, feelings are changing a little bit.
And it's so hard when it's an episode that gets better. When it's a Captain's Holiday, it's like easy to discredit. Like, it's like, oh, well, who cares if the beginning was okay? I hated where it went. When it's like, oh, I wasn't really into it, and then it got me into it, you almost forgive it. So it's tough.
And especially when it starts off a certain way, you're stuck in that mindset for a bit. And similar to the episode Struggling the Claw, its way to it better. Like, it's tough for me to like come out of my mindset of this is a D or C, and it's tough for me to change my mind on that. Even though as I was watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, but in my brain I'm still thinking,
Yeah, and also with a lot of episodes that do get better, I won't discredit the beginning being bad, because I'll go, oh well, do I really want to have to rewatch this one? Because rewatchability is a big factor for me, and it's like, oh, if I rewatch it, I'm gonna have to go through the beginning. Wouldn't have that problem with this one. It wasn't like bad in that way. I just wasn't interested yet. Now that I really love where it goes, rewatching this, I would love rewatching this one. So that put it up there for me too.
Everything with Laxwana is so like, sly, mess with you. It was very refreshing to see her genuinely care about someone, like just at his bedside. Oh, how long have you been there? A minute, an hour, and like it was nice to see the humane Laxwana Troy.
Yeah, a real person.
A real person instead of the character. I always come back to this word. Instead of this cartoon character that she's been before.
And that's why I'm not even upset that Mr. Hom only got one scene. I'm glad he was there at all, because it's a serious episode and his character is just like inherently funny. So would have been hard to have him in. I think it's just one scene. Yeah, in the engine room.
Yeah, and even that, like, she pushes everything over, of course. But you guys need to eat. It's been hours. It was out of a genuine,
care, motherly
care or loverly care, because Timison was there as well.
Loverly, yeah.
I think that's a word.
Well, I just got to say, too, one last point. I mean, imagine the traffic on that planet. It must be great.
All right, so first we'll start off with the grade. It looks like we have a 51% A tier, 19% B, 18% S, 9% C, 3% D, and this is a recurring thing here, a 1% E.
Someone just going in and voting E now, so there's always E votes, but we do usually find the take. But yeah, they agree with both of us. I feel like we were pretty close in our grades. You even said you might change yours eventually come the end of the season.
Mine was a B+, wasn't it?
I think a B-, but I don't really care about that. I mean, it was a B.
It was a B,
is what you said.
It might be closer to an A now. Well, we'll see.
All right, most like Patron Take comes from Deep Red with 13 likes here. Easily the best Loaxana episode thus far, and David Ogden Stiers puts in one of my favorite guest performances on the show. Have to agree there. Having to see relatives grow old and fade away, this really affected me. The show illuminates how much people tend to devalue the lives of the elderly, but also reflects our own fears of growing old and useless. The show offers no easy answers. You would think that the solution would be simply not taking part in the ritual, and yet it actually drives a wedge between Timothy and his family. I can see why that's the most liked take. I love all of that.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, we didn't even get into the nitty-gritty details about we're like, well, we become old and weak, and no one's there to take care of us. And I agree with Timothy that we shouldn't expect our children to take care of us. Don't have kids hoping that someone's going to take care of you when you're old. You have kids because you want to have kids, not because them take care of you.
Yes, that's something I was going to ask you how you felt on that, because I've always hated that mentality of, oh, well, I took care of my kids, so now they should take care of me. And it's like, if you have that relationship with your kids and they want to do that, like, that's awesome. But for it to be like an expectation or a burden is just like cringe.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's like, do not.
Yeah, it just gives me the ick. No, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like, what?
It's like, bro, so desperate.
Son, daughter, give me a drink.
Yeah.
No, it's like, I'd rather be homeless than,
It's like, I appreciate everything, if you have good parents, it's like, I appreciate everything you did for me. I didn't ask to be fucking born.
I didn't ask to pay taxes,
So thanks, but
I appreciate it, thanks for the good life, but
But it's like, again, based on the individual relationship, but it's like, if the child is able to and wants to, awesome, but I got to give Loaxana credit, because, like, and Majel Barrett, because, like, even where I'm completely on that opposite side, I'm on Timothy's side, the way she phrased it, I was kind of like, there are some points that are hard to argue. Like, the way she phrased it, I was like, okay, yeah, like, I can see the perspective, which is, like, that's all you need in an argument. Like, if you can see both perspectives, it makes it more difficult, right? It's like, if you completely, you're like, no, you make no sense at all, that's one thing. But you can tell Timothy, too, was kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, her argument was better when she was like, oh, you can be healthy till you're 75, or you might croak when you're, 50. There's no way to know. Why 60? Yeah.
And then when he was like, yeah, so why make them choose? She's like, how about you don't do it at all? It's like, damn.
Yeah, it's like, I love it when I can go both sides, like tennis, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now imagine if he was arguing with Pulaski. You're wasting your time.
You're wasting your time. Data's just an android. We're not talking about Data. Got to read this one from Dion. First comment. I think after Menage a Troy, one of you said that you never expected there to be a serious Luxwana Troy episode.
Was that
you?
What is it? The TikTok meme, Holiday Inn baby? Me. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Come on, we got different FYPs, man. All right. Look up Holiday Inn baby.
TikTok?
Yeah. Yeah, I said that, and I was proven dead wrong. Of course, I kind of already assumed it would eventually happily. It would happen eventually, because as soon as I said that, there were a bunch of comments joking about me saying it, so I knew it would be coming eventually, but yeah.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Who wants to go to the Four Seasons Orlando?
That's me saying that about Loaxana.
How the fuck did you see that? Jesus.
Dude, that was like one of the biggest memes of the summer.
I've never seen one video of that.
They just basically take that baby and they put it in any situation where it's like, oh, who wants to go to the game this weekend? Me. Just like literally anything. Like, who wants to go out to the bars third night in a row? Me. Like, it's anything.
Okay.
This one's from Steven Linden, and I'm reading this one because I'm shocked by this. C tier for me. I don't think it's a bad episode, really, and I do give the writers credit for doing a serious story with Loaxana, but I don't find the actor playing Timothy very compelling, and the story just feels very flat to me. Wow. And it always shocks me. It's like two completely different perspectives. I don't think Steven, well, I do think he's wrong. I disagree with him, but I don't think his opinion or my opinion, is more or less wrong or valid, but it's just so interesting that it's like, I thought he was like top 5 guest at least.
Yeah, for sure. Right above that, Philip. Great use of Luxwana. She's the right person to call out stupid traditions. I think it's probably the best character to do that.
Because she's so out, like,
yeah,
just so,
she's the one. Why would you
just so blunt?
Yeah, other than Pulaski. I mean, who else?
That makes sense.
That would get that involved and invested. It makes sense on 2 sense. One, because of the love interest, and 2, she's a perfect outgoing character to call out some BS like that, especially if it's someone she cares about dying. I don't know. Would Worf care about this guy? Oh, it's honorable to go out the way you want. Data. I have no involvement in this.
Worf needs to not talk to Loaxana because she would just destroy everything about Klingon tradition. He'd be like, but I'm Klingon. She's like, ah. She would destroy him.
Well, according to the records, you're not. And by the way.
Yeah, that was a good impression. Yeah. All right. This one's from John Luck. It may be an A tier, but I'm going with S tier because of the raw emotions that come out of the characters, and they really tug at my heartstrings. Fair. I like how this gave Loaxana Troi more depth as a character, and it's an interesting, disturbing premise to chew on, which can often be a great quality of science fiction. I agree. Also a great performance by David Ogden Stiers as Timothy. Agree there as well. Yeah, great take.
All right, this one's from Cranky Grandma. This is one of my favorite TNG episodes. A great guest actor, very strong moral questions that never became two-dimensional. A clear S to me. Good sci-fi doing what good classic sci-fi does. Explores human moral issues and tells a story without sounding like a sermon. Just lets the story unfold and leaves you thinking, maybe weeping a little. Yeah, I agree with all that.
The not sounding like a sermon is so important, and that's the counterbalance of the last episode that we loved so much with Picard, where you could argue that was a sermon. We had some patrons say it felt very preachy, but that was such a strong message that I felt like that needed to be more of a strong message rather than a back and forth, as to where this is something that's very much like, I am more interested in the back and forth. If the episode was Picard, killing is wrong in any scenario, it's like I wouldn't have been into that. So really liked it.
Would it be better if you went down there and punched someone? I don't know. I feel like Kirk would do that.
And this one's from Paul Hess, a personal favorite of mine. David Ogden Stiers slays this role. Slay with his quiet intensity and flares of emotion. That's a great way to put it. Majel Barrett Roddenberry finally gets a role that respects Loaxana as a character with some depth and seriousness. She manages to pull it off without betraying any of the ridiculous character build-up from prior seasons, but instead embracing it and turning it into something sensible. I think that's an excellent point.
Who said that?
Paul Hess. He also says, Michelle Forbes with an awesome one-off appearance, adding context and intensity to the plot while sporting the most ridiculous hairdo in sci-fi. The hairdo was great. I don't know Michelle Forbes. I guess she's from other stuff.
Another TNG episode, now in the books. Did TA hate it, or did they get hooked? Will they ever get it? We may never know. TNG season 4, let's go! Warp speed, engage, engage. Warp speed, engage, engage. Warp speed, engage, engage. Warp speed, let's go! Talking over dialogue, laughing at odd times. You may get bothered, but TA feels sublime. They tear into your favorites, they love ones you hate. Yet you can't get enough of the reactions they make. They pop for big moments and make clever jabs. One half of the scene they will always yap. They've been at this for years with many more to come. Join this journey, set your phaser to stun. Warp speed, engage, engage. Warp speed, engage, engage. Warp speed, engage, engage. Warp speed, let's go, let's go. Josh and Alex lost in thought. Missing scenes they should have caught. Laughing loud as plots unfold. In this journey, brave and bold. Exposition missed, yet still they shine. The sarcastic charm you can't decline. Guided by stars, their paths align. Josh and Alex in cosmic time. Warp speed, engage, engage. Warp speed, engage, engage. Warp speed, engage, engage. Warp speed, let's go.
Apparently the David Stiers actor is from MASH.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I just find that funny because that's one of those shows that when we get recommended or like requests to watch, I just laugh. I'm like, isn't there like 1,000 episodes of MASH? And isn't it like about war?
For the longest time, I thought MASH was just news footage of war. That's all I thought. I didn't know it was a show. I've never seen a single frame of the show. I'm just pretty sure you know that old classic news footage where it's like black and white.
Yeah,
and
like B footage.
Yeah, it's like the frame rate is terrible. I thought it was just a show of that. Like, oh look, here's where the Americans crossed over into the blah blah blah.
Yeah, 255 episodes. The only thing I know about MASH is that the series finale was like the most watched TV program for a very, very long time until
Seinfeld.
I think Seinfeld, or it might have even still beat Seinfeld. I think it might have been one of the Super Bowls, but that doesn't really count.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, but it might have been Seinfeld. You could be right about that. All right, we good here? Is there any others you want to read?
I just want to say I think I changed my grade to an A after thinking about it.
Well, you have a few more weeks to think about it, and then you'll regrade it officially.
Yes.